Tonight on KGW News, how schools plan to handle triple-digit heat with possibly record-breaking highs on the way. Plus,
I think this will go down as the most complex, biggest case this county has ever seen.
as patients take an Oregon hospital to court after a nurse is accused of replacing medication with tap water. Then, a business that was once headquartered in downtown Portland says it's now moving elsewhere. Why hundreds of employees are set to leave the skyscraper that bears the bank's name. And later,
Just want to say, hardly anything I'd rather do than play poker with this group, this group.
tonight, meet the group of veterans that's been calling, folding, and bluffing every month for more than 50 years. A very good evening, everyone. We begin tonight once again with a weather impact alert looking live over downtown Portland. 74 degrees on this Wednesday night with forecast tomorrow in some spots. Yes, calling for triple digits. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko here with Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino. Matt, we know the heat's going to be extreme. Are we still talking record breaking?
I think so, David. Yeah, we are calling tomorrow and Thursday weather impact alert days because of the heat. So we're going to be up around 100 both days. You want to reduce any outdoor activity that is strenuous, especially if you're susceptible to heat-related stresses and illnesses. And make sure you hydrate, make sure you give your plants and your pets extra water. Keep an eye on the elderly as well. So we are at 74 degrees in Portland right now. Humidity is still fairly low. The winds are light at the moment. They're going to begin to pick up out of these. That's already happening in parts of the gorge and up in the Cascades. And compared to last night, we're running 7, 8, 12 degrees warmer. So it's a big difference between last night and tonight, and tomorrow will be a big difference between, well, today and the temperatures we get tomorrow. Look at the hour-by-hour forecast for our temperatures beginning at noon, near 90 degrees. So we'll be about as warm at noon tomorrow as we were all day today. We'll hit 95 by 2 o'clock, then top out about 100 or 101 at 5 o'clock. So it is going to be a cooker. We should tie the record for tomorrow, which is 101. Hazy, hot, and windy in East County. It won't be humid, of course. Still around 100 on Friday, and if we make 100 on Friday, which is what I'm forecasting, then that'll be the latest in the year that we've ever hit 100 degrees. We'll tie that record tomorrow, and then back down into the low 90s on Saturday. Now, we've got a whole bunch of weather warnings and fire weather warnings around the Northwest. We'll dig into those in a bit, David.
Yeah, that map lit up like the 4th of July. Thank you, Matt. Meanwhile, local school districts are working to make sure students can stay cool. Some, like Estacada and Jervis, are releasing students early, while Oregon Trail in Sandy has canceled school outright. Oregon's biggest school district, Portland Public, will remain open, but says it plans to operate ventilation systems overnight in the 66 out of 81 buildings that do not have AC. To try and cool them down, they're also canceling after-school activities in buildings without AC. In Beaverton, a recent bond measure provided funding to add central cooling in several buildings over the last few years. A spokesperson there saying their main concern now is having a system fail.
We can bring in fans, we can bring in portable units, we can shift kids around in the school, but if it gets too hot, then we would have to consider early dismissal.
Both districts say they will follow state guidelines when it comes to after-school sports, which recommends stopping practice and games when the heat index reaches 105 degrees or higher. We have a full list of school changes up for you right now on KGW.com. Speaking of staying cool, Multnomah County will open 2 centers tomorrow and possibly Friday. They're at Cook Plaza in Gresham at 194th and Stark, and at Portland Covenant Church on Northeast MLK. Multnomah County libraries in downtown Portland and Gresham are also extending opening hours until 8. There are cooling spaces in Clackamas, Washington, and Clark counties as well. And TriMet riders, just a reminder, headed to or from a cooling center do not have to pay. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage of the extreme heat, however long it lasts, hopefully just those 2 days. You can find updates on school closures, cooling center locations, or the latest forecast anytime on KGW.com or the KGW app. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a vigil was held tonight following a deadly shooting at a high school near Atlanta. Officers arrested a 14-year-old student accused of killing 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers. At least 9 other people were hurt. Authorities say the shooter opened fire at Appalachia High School in Winder and that he dropped his gun and surrendered when police confronted him. Some students initially thought this might have been a drill.
It was just like a loud boom as if a locker had slammed. So my teacher thought it was just like some kid acting foolish. So then she took a peek outside, and then we heard repeatedly the banging again, and that's when we could identify it was the gun.
I feel sorry for the kids that they've had to experience such evil.
Authorities say the suspect will be charged and tried as an adult. In Lincoln City, police have surrounded a home after a suspect apparently fired shots at officers. Authorities say this began when they tried to issue a parking ticket to a person in a converted school bus who shot at them and then drove away. They later found the bus abandoned in a motel parking lot on Highway 101. That prompted a search of the beach in the middle of the city this evening, but police did not find the suspect there. Now they're working to get a search warrant for that home and say there is no active threat to the public. And Portland police are searching for a suspect they say exposed himself to a woman who was jogging in southeast Portland. This is around 10:30 this morning along the Springwater corridor near Johnson Creek Boulevard and Brookside Drive. The jogger telling police the man passed her on a bike and then jumped into the bushes farther up the trail. Then as she passed, he exposed himself and tried to grab her. She escaped and ran for help. Police described the suspect here as white in his 30s, about 5'8" with a shaved head. At the time, he was wearing all black and riding a bike with 2 backpacks. Well, U.S. Bank is pulling hundreds of employees out of downtown Portland and leaving the building that bears its name behind. The bank says it's choosing not to renew its lease at the U.S. Bank Corp Tower, also known as Big Pink. The office space serves as the regional headquarters for the bank. It's home to hundreds of employees. The current lease expires next year. In a statement, the bank said some employees will transfer to other locations downtown, but many will move to a facility in Gresham. At this point, they don't anticipate any job cuts and say this won't affect services at its branches. In a statement to our news partner, the Portland Business Journal, the company that owns the building, Unico, expressed disappointment, saying, quote, "It is a severe blow to the downtown community and the city of Portland to lose such a significant urban-oriented business to its suburban neighbors. This is a dramatic statement and decision by the bank's leadership on their view of the state of Portland." Unico's executive added it's a, quote, wake-up call to elected leaders. We've reached out to the mayor's office for comment, but have yet to hear back. This evening, we're learning more about a medical malpractice lawsuit filed by both survivors and relatives of patients who died after a nurse at a Southern Oregon hospital allegedly swapped out IV bags that had pain-killing drugs inside with tap water. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom with the update. Alma?
Yeah, David, you might recall that back in June, a former Assante nurse named Danny Schofield was arrested and charged with 44 counts of assault after she allegedly swapped liquid fentanyl prescribed to her patients with tap water, causing serious and in many cases deadly infections. Now, lawyers representing 18 patients, 9 who survived and 9 who died, filed a $300 million civil lawsuit alleging that Assante had a duty to prevent drug misuse and bacterial infections. According to court documents, attorneys allege the hospital failed to act quickly when they learned of possible misuse, failed to establish safety protocols to keep this from happening, and failed to monitor employees to make sure they weren't diverting drugs. The lawsuit claims this negligence led patients who needed pain relief to suffer even greater pain for a longer period of time. Each of the plaintiffs named in this lawsuit were infected allegedly with bacteria uniquely associated with waterborne transmission. Medford police initially began investigating after Assante voiced concerns with a rising number of central line infection cases at Rogue Regional Medical Center. Attorneys in Jackson County on the criminal and civil side told our sister station in Medford they're hoping for justice for the victims and their families.
I think this will go down as the most complex, biggest case this county has ever seen and that our office has ever handled.
One of the reasons why I'm interested in this case is because I want to just find out what the truth is.
Schofield pled not guilty to the drug diversion charges and is out on bail awaiting trial in the criminal case. We've reached out to Assante for comment tonight and are waiting to hear back. David?
Such a disturbing case on so many levels. Thank you, Alma. New at 11, Portland has launched a new tool leaders hope will get people connected to shelters more easily. It'll show where beds are available around the city. To start, the tool includes just 11 shelters, which are working with Multnomah County and the city to keep beds available for people whose campsites are removed. Outreach workers will be able to check the database and in real time quickly figure out where beds are available, then direct people to shelters that would be the best fit for them.
right now, because right now you could have somebody move out of a bed and it might take, a little while for that to get to outreach. We're going to have to phone up and sort of talk to somebody at the shelter. We want to cut through that, make it a little bit more efficient, and eventually get to a point where you can see real-time bed use across the whole system.
The pilot phase will last through the end of this year, then the county will see what needs to be adjusted before it's expanded. You're watching KGW News. Still to come on this Wednesday night, something to celebrate in Oregon City with farm workers and veterans set to move in to an affordable place to live. Plus, a brand new Pacific Storyland that you might say is low on stakes and high on life. That's coming your way next.